Oh, hello. Welcome along to the Gallagher Shots YouTube channel, and it's the home of the Always Smiling Faces podcast, and these videos as well, the player ratings with me, Emil. Hello, you can follow me on Twitter. It's either going to be there or there, or probably not at all now that I've mentioned it, but Emil_Franchi, try spelling that without it being written down. You can give us a follow. I'm slightly cool and very weird. I'm not cool at all, actually. Listen to me talking about it. Let's get on with it, shall we? We had a pretty grim prospect heading into the weekend. A trip to Chelsea. It was on TV at Stamford Bridge, and we sadly succumbed to Sarri Ball, unfortunately. There was some encouragement, though, in the performance, despite that result losing 2-1. And let's kick off. Dubravka, as always, he was left exposed by the defenders, sadly, and these were two very good goals that Chelsea scored. Let's not forget that. It was pretty much out of his hands, certainly for the Willian goal. I mean, you just don't stop them, do you? Slightly dangerous, though, from Dubravka. Seen a few risks recently from him where he maybe looks a bit shaky, certainly in the bigger matches. He came off his line early to stop Willian in the second half. It could have been dangerous, but he dealt with it. Otherwise, though, brilliant save from Pedro's shot in the second half, and, just generally dealing with the Chelsea threat. I'll give him a 7 this week. Yedlin, now I think he had a good go at Chelsea. I think Yedlin can take a fair amount of credit on this one. That wing-back role, it really suits him, I would say. And, he sent some great balls in to create things going forward, certainly teaming up with Perez, who didn't really, capitalise on a lot of those things. And he sent some great balls into Rondon as well. It was a shame that Yedlin couldn't make any of those come off, but there was a usual amount of defensive mistakes, you could say. Not necessarily, being caught out, but he was losing the ball, certainly backing off Willian and maybe out of position slightly when they got that second goal. So it was a shame, but I'll give Yedlin a 6. He put some good effort in. He was replaced by Manquillo, who came on, and he put a really good ball into Rondon. It could have been an equalising goal if it had been a little bit further over. Now Lascelles, we'll move on to him. Good performance from the captain, I have to say. I think that Lascelles is getting better as the weeks go by. We've had those shaky performances when he first came back into the team, but now he's showing glimmers of hope that Captain Fantastic is still there. I mean, I never doubted it, but he got away with some pulling on Rudiger in this game, I would say. But battling through a knock, and he wasn't caught out too many times. I don't think it was his worst performance ever. Fantastic tackle on Kante as well in the second half, which I thought was just brilliant. It was Lascelles all over, basically. 7 for him. On to Lejeune. It's good to have him back on the pitch, certainly in the Premier League, after he played that whole game against Blackburn. I think it maybe helped Lascelles' performance, this partnership that we saw grow over the last season, and he's not afraid of having a shot as a defender. We've seen a few attacks from Lejeune now, not necessarily going to go in, but he didn't do badly. There was a powerful shot early on, but defensively, there was a few moments where he maybe came charging out of his position. And again, similar to Yedlin, when it got to the Willian goal, he was kind of shouting at Yedlin to move into a position. Lejeune wasn't even in the right position in the first place. So a little bit frantic from Lejeune, I've got to say. I'll give him a 5. Because I think that he was maybe still not quite up to speed, but he'll get there. It's good to have him back in that team, competing for the place. Clark, he was called into the team, thrust into some difficult situations in this game, and he was caught sleeping a bit for Chelsea's first goal. Pedro just ran rings around him, sadly, and that was the constant thing, people getting in behind all three defenders, but in particular that first goal, it was a bit of a mess. He was chasing Chelsea a lot of the time. That being said, that bullet header that got us our goal, it was brilliant. Clark's now our second top scorer, which just says everything you need to know about Newcastle at the minute in the transfer window. Pretty good game from Clark, but I'll give him a 6 for this one. Richie, playing the defensive wing-back role again. He should have maybe helped Clark a little bit more for their first goal. He kind of let Pedro go on to Clark, but nothing seemed to happen. I don't know, maybe Richie's just struggling with that bit. He was unlucky to see yellow on that foul, or apparent foul, on Azil Paqueta. Did I say his name correctly? I don't really know. But, I was convinced that Richie wasn't going to see the end of the game. Yellow card that early on, I was like, Richie's going to get a needless tackle here. He's going to get frustrated. But luckily, nothing happened. There was a spectacularly sliced ball that he shot, and even he knew that was rubbish. But great corner to get us the goal. He's really improved on those corners, and please, can we have less short corners? Because how frustrating was that bit at the end, giving the ball to Atsi, who then went and wasted it. That being said, good game. Richie, 7. Longstaff, well, really stepped up to the mark, didn't he, on this game? It was a tough game for him to come into. 21 years old, playing against Chelsea, and there was some really nice touches and some good pieces of play as well. He was trying to get Newcastle in there, and he worked hard as well. He worked hard to get some corners, he got us forward. I think this was a really good game from Longstaff, and if you were judging him in the Blackburn game, I think it showed just how tight they were playing. I'm guilty of this, you know, I said that Longstaff didn't really do much. I think he was frozen out of that slightly. This one, he was right amongst it, and good for him. I'll give him an 8. I would say best player on the pitch. Hayden, saw some better play from him this week. He was pushing himself to win the balls. However, he was caught a lot of the time in possession, and he was losing the ball. Chelsea took it off him, and he was falling about, and just didn't fill you with hope when he did get on the ball. Decent job, but he's still lacking a bit. 5 for Hayden. Atsu came to life after their first goal, didn't he? Really pushing forward, and he showed some great vision. He was sneaking into those spots where Chelsea are maybe a little bit exposed, and if only he could maybe get a shot away. I know he didn't really shoot in this match because we know he can't do it, but if he was able to, then maybe we would see a bit more. There was some brilliant play with Rondon back and forth, and I've already mentioned it, but that wasted opportunity in the final moments, the final kick of the game, he could have just put it into the box. I know we might not have even scored, but at least show that you can do something with that. It was a real frustrating end to the match, but Atsu, decent game in a tough scenario. 7. Perez, not a great game from him, I've got to say. Constantly losing the ball. Every time that Yedlin got him into a good position, he was swamped, he was given the ball, and he wasted chances. There was one in the first half, and he was, you know, there was that penalty claim, but was it? Maybe. We can claim Salah on this one, but I don't know really. Perez just gave away unnecessary free kicks. There was a horrible miss kick, in fact, which might have put Chelsea in. It didn't, thankfully, but still. Some worrying bits of play from Perez, I would say. Give him a 5 as well. Rondon, though, on his own up front, and it really was just one. After that, it was 5-4-1, I think Rafa was playing this week. And there was a couple of chances he had. There was a header, he kind of got pushed out to the side in the first half. And if those had been maybe an inch closer, maybe a second before, I don't know. I don't think Rondon was to blame for missing those ones, because it wasn't like spectacular misses, similar to what Perez did. But he won some aerial battles, he was fighting the Chelsea defenders, gave Rudiger hell, and plenty of pressure on them as well. 6 for Rondon. I think if he's playing against some weaker teams, then we might see a bit more. Oh, before I go, I must mention that Perez got replaced by Murphy, who, in fairness to Murphy, he came straight on the pitch. He showed some good pace to go and win the balls, but as ever, it didn't really come to much. I don't think there was much from Murphy in this game, or much he could have done really to save it. But even though we say that, impact sub, I think Murphy really works in that role. Now, on to the end of the video. I'm commentating this like a bloody football one would. Depleted team for Newcastle this week. Real tough tasks going into it when you've got Dummett missing, Shelby missing, you've got Key away, you've got Diarmi out, and it didn't fill you with hope. That being said, we didn't look down and out. That first goal went in, we came back, we scored a goal, and we were beaten by 2 very good goals. Williams in particular, man, you're never going to ever stop worldies like that. And, you know, if we play like that against the teams around us, we've got Cardiff coming up, we should be okay. Keep the faith. I know it's a torrid time at the minute, but it was like this at the start of the season when we lost 2-1 to Chelsea. Unlucky loss to Chelsea. Players are going to come back. We might get beat in the FA Cup replay, but if we give the players a rest and we keep them for Cardiff, then that is all we can hope for. Play the under-21s, why not? 2 games this week, like I say, Blackburn on Tuesday, Cardiff on Saturday, build up from the channel, coming soon, FIFA predictions and the podcast, and I will see you for the aftermath of both and all of the fume. And while I've got you, let's just fix this, shall we? Almost forgot how to spell that there. Fixed it. See you later.